Oh my god. You'll never believe the kind of nightmare I just had. I just had a nightmare that they remade Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Yeah, and you know what? I had a nightmare myself. I had a nightmare that you would run in and ruin my entire movie review. And yeah, totally unprofessional. And by the way, what is this? This is not the Kong from the movie Godzilla vs. Kong. This looks more like the Peter Jackson King Kong. Like, and what is this? This looks like a Toy Story reject. Just how unprofessional can you be? We talked about this. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna start a different YouTube channel. I am out. I just can't take the unprofessionalism. This is... Nope. City. Bye.
I didn't think there's anything wrong with them.
I don't know about you, Kim, but I'm very impressed with director Adam Wingard. Who would have thought that the director of the beloved live-action remake of Death Note would turn out such an adequate Godzilla vs. Kong movie? In all seriousness, guys, welcome again to Around the Clock Frights. I am Josh.
Kimberly?
And today we are here to talk about the hotly anticipated film Godzilla vs. Kong. This is a film that was originally supposed to come out in 2020, but things happened in the world. But it has finally come out. It was released simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max, and we're here to talk about it today. Kim, first of all, I just have to compliment you on the toys that you brought, to the table. I know that I was joking in the beginning, but these are actually pretty cool. Didn't you say that you've had this one for a while now? That you actually bought this for your son?
My parents got it for my son a while back, and he used to be really obsessed with him.
Uh-huh.
His name is actually Gino.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna lie, I actually can't stop staring at him. He has some very nice features. Anyway, so we're here to deliver our thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong, and before I begin, I'm just gonna ask you, Kim, what you thought of this movie. What are your initial thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong, directed by the same guy who gave us the live-action Death Note?
Honestly, I was conflicted back and forth with this, whether I wanted to like it or not like it, or just be in the middle. And there was things about it that I liked, but then there was things about it that just seemed kind of and that it could have been better.
So you're kind of in the middle?
I'm in the middle, yeah.
Okay, I just have to say this. I've watched a lot of reviews for this movie on YouTube recently, and the reactions so far have been mostly positive, so you guys are probably going to hate me for this, but I wasn't necessarily a fan of this movie. And, okay, let me explain myself. Okay, so this whole MonsterVerse thing. So I've seen all the films in this franchise, starting with 2014's Godzilla. I actually saw that at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. I saw it at an AMC theater down in Florida with my father, and I thought that film was mostly dull, with a couple of action highlights. Kong Skull Island is actually my favorite, out of the franchise. I thought that was a very enjoyable film. You can look no further than Tom Hiddleston slicing through pterodactyls with a samurai sword. That's what that movie has to offer. Godzilla King of the Monsters had potential, but it was honestly pretty dreary, and it focused too much on lifeless, boring human characters, and most of the fight scenes in that movie were very murky. The cinematography wasn't very well thought out at all. Most of the fights were obscured by either rain or smoke. This film, I will give it some credit. The fight sequences in this movie were very easy to make out. The first brawl between Kong and Godzilla actually took place during the day, and you could see everything that was happening, and the director used realistic camera angles where he would just, film these monsters from a distance. He didn't get too crazy, with the cinematography, so on a technical level, I can definitely say that this is the most energetic of all the films, it definitely wasn't boring, but um, I still had some problems.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
So you had kind of a middle of the road reaction. I have to say that there was a reason why I wasn't overly excited for this movie. I've seen all the films in this franchise, and I have to say this. Most of them have been either average or disappointing. It's not like an Avengers situation where, you have all these amazing films, building up to this big, climactic team up. It's different here because I didn't really have the biggest attachment to these films. I mean, my favorite was Kong Skull Island, and that wasn't even incredible. I mean, it was passable. It was entertaining. The other films, and also, I don't know. I've seen clips of the original King Kong versus Godzilla, and let me just say this: it looks incredibly cheesy and awful. King Kong in that movie looks like a possessed stuffed animal that got thrown in the dryer on high. He looks awful. So, I mean, were you excited for this film? Like, when you saw the trailers and everything?
I kind of was, only because I've seen the 2005 King Kong, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well, if this is anything like that, but just throwing in Godzilla and whatnot, I thought it might have been a little bit more interesting.
I was also a fan of the 2005 Peter Jackson remake. I thought that was actually a very good film. I thought it was classy. I thought it was, incredibly well made. Obviously, it doesn't take place in that universe. This is an entirely different King Kong. But, let me ask you this. One of these films' biggest weaknesses is usually the human characters.
Mm-hmm.
I could not have cared less about any of the human characters in this movie. Some of them came off as the type of quirky, irritating side characters you might see in a Michael Bay Transformers film. Particularly Brian Tyree Henry's character. He reminded me of Anthony Anderson's character in the first Transformers film, which is kind of this bumbling comedic sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
So was there anyone in this film that you latched onto?
I would have to say the little girl.
The little deaf girl. Okay.
Yeah, because she had a little bit more of a backstory, and you can kind of, I don't know, I guess I latched onto her more because, like, you kind of hear her story where she was on this island with her mom and dad, and I can't remember how they died, but they died,
Mm-hmm.
and Kong saved her,
Mm-hmm.
and then he kind of pretty much cared for her,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much wouldn't let nothing happen to her, and then that's,
Mm-hmm.
when you brought the other character in, I can't think of her name.
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall, yeah. And then, she ended up becoming almost like the adopted mother of her. So, I mean, you had a little bit more of a backstory. You can kind of feel for her character a little bit because Kong...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because Kong was more of a, like
A friend.
friend, So, I don't know. She was maybe the only one that I kind of could say I cared a little bit more.
I think what you said there is kind of the key. A little bit of a backstory, because these characters are pretty cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of depth to them, which is fine, because I want to point out another team up film, Freddy vs. Jason. So Freddy vs. Jason is a film that I would say overall delivered, as far as what we were expecting as horror fans, but I think it focused a little bit too much on human characters, and there isn't a single horror fan on the face of this planet who goes to something like Freddy vs. Jason expecting human depth. So I'm not looking for human depth in a movie like Godzilla vs. Kong. It ultimately did deliver on the kaiju action, but man, just any time one of these human characters appeared on screen, apart from a couple of exceptions, like the little deaf girl and, in some cases, Brian Tyree Henry, I just wanted to pull my hair out. I just thought they were so uninteresting and cookie cutter, and I just could not give two shits about their journeys at all. By the way, guys, we're not going to get into spoilers. This is going to be a mostly spoiler-free review, but I have to ask you this, Kim. Did the human characters' plan in this movie make sense to you, like as far as what they were trying to accomplish?
Not really.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for one, like... not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But like the one guy that we have in there that's we end up
the big villain.
No,
The
not
head of
the big.
the head of the evil corporation.
No, not him. The one that's with Rebecca Hall and the little
Alexander
girl.
Skarsgård.
Yes, when he comes in, and it's just so mysterious on what he's accomplishing. I thought he was going to be part of the whole scheme of everything, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like it.
Yeah, it didn't seem very sensible. And you know what his character reminded me of? So he was the type of schlub that you would see in a crappy disaster movie like The Core from 2003 or Armageddon from 1998, another Michael Bay film. But okay, so without going into spoilers, the human character's plan is a little bit convoluted. I had to keep reminding myself what exactly they were after, like what their overall plan was. And it's one of the situations where if you think too hard about it, you're probably going to hate yourself because it is so stupid. It is so silly. It's like something out of a subpar like disaster film from like the 90s or early 2000s. But you know what? You come to this film for, the action. Did you did you get your monster fix? Did this movie deliver on that front? With the monster action?
It did. I mean, we did. We get a few actually really good of the monster action. Yeah.
So
there's something I want to say, but I'm like,
You don't want to go into spoilers.
I don't want to go into spoilers. Yes.
That's fair enough. Let me ask you: did you feel more for the monster characters in this movie than the human characters emotionally?
Almost definitely.
Yes.
And I mean, I like both. I like Godzilla and King Kong, but I favored King Kong more.
I was going to ask you that. Who were you rooting for?
I was definitely rooting for King Kong.
How dare you?
What?
Traitor. I'm a Godzilla guy. Anyway.
But yes, I was rooting for King Kong, and every time something happened and there where like he gets hurt or something, I'd always like freak out like, oh my gosh, no. And then it brought me back to that 2005 one again, what happens at the end, and I was like...
So you're saying they did a good job making these monsters characters that you cared about?
Yeah.
Essentially.
And overall, at the end, I would have to say, it came through to where it wasn't only just favoriting one, but you just wanted,
There is a clear winner in this movie. We're not going to give it away, but there is a clear winner, and without getting into too much detail, another monster does appear, a monster that is most likely familiar to many of you longtime kaiju fans. I really don't want to spoil it for you guys, but let's just say that they really should have cast Barbra Streisand in this movie. Damn it, that might have given it away right there.
Oh my goodness.
Does this thing have atomic breath in it? Like... No, that's disappointing.
Right.
So when I'm a 12-year-old at heart, I'm sorry. So when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I had just recently watched the original Godzilla, aka Gojira, which was released in the 50s, and this is a dour, miserable movie. I mean, it's much more of a metaphor for nuclear destruction. There are black and white scenes, well, the whole film isn't black and white, but there are scenes in which we see, Godzilla lay waste to all these cities in Japan, and there's this one sequence where we see news footage of these survivors laying like in hospital beds, and it looks like authentic World War II footage, and it is honestly a very just dark film. There's not really much enjoyment to be had because it's a metaphor for, like I said, nuclear destruction. These Godzilla films didn't really become schlocky until later years, particularly in the 60s and 70s. We had films like Godzilla versus Mothra, Godzilla versus Ghidorah, schlocky stuff like that. So when I saw the trailer for this movie, I knew that it was going to be along those lines, something very schlocky, something that you could enjoy, on a very basic level. You could turn your mind off and enjoy it for what it is. I guess the biggest reason why I was kind of, disappointed by this film is that I didn't have any emotional attachment to these monsters, from the get-go, because the other films, again, were just pretty average. So, there's that. Now, Kim, we mentioned, after the movie that the runtime felt surprisingly short. I guess that must have been nice.
Yeah, no, because I was a little shocked on when how it ended. It was like, that's it?
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of which, okay. So, the middle portion of this movie was actually my favorite because the humans are trying to get to this destination, and when they finally get there, it is actually very imaginative, and it is gorgeously shot.
Oh, yes. Yes, I definitely loved how that was shot. Just because of how, like, crisp and beautiful it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the location they get to.
Mm-hmm.
It is very beautiful. So this film does have some visual things going for it. And Kim, I haven't asked you, how many of these films have you actually seen, in the Godzilla and King Kong franchises, besides the 2005 remake?
I'm going to be kind of disappointed, but that's about it.
That's about it?
Just the 2005.
Well, I recommend that you watch King Kong vs. Godzilla from the 1960s. That
so
film.
Watch Teddy Bear King Kong.
Watch Teddy Bear versus. Watch Teddy Bear King Kong versus. Watch Teddy Bear King Kong versus Rubber Bath Toy Godzilla.
All right, that sounds like a good movie right there.
But guys, here's the thing. If you enjoyed the previous films in this MonsterVerse, you'll probably enjoy this one too. Like I said, it does have a lot more energy. Kim, so final thoughts on Godzilla versus Kong. You said you're on the middle. Would you recommend, watching it?
I would have to say the same as you. Like, if you enjoyed the other films, definitely go in, watch it. If you're looking for something more to it, you'll be kind of disappointed.
All right, fair enough. So there we go, guys. Some action highlights. Really annoying human characters, apart from one or two exceptions. Fantastic visual effects. Did we mention that?
Yes, we did.
Just how detailed the CGI was in this movie. I mean, my goodness. Like, the fur on Kong was so detailed.
And then you had Godzilla. Yeah.
Very impressive.
It didn't come off really fake or, like, too much CGI.
So, boils and ghouls, those are our final thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong, a film that has potential to be one of the biggest hits of the year. And I don't know about you, but I don't think it'll match up to something like the Mortal Kombat remake.
Oh, yeah.
That looks amazing.
It does. I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
Although it may not top my favorite film of the year so far, Willy's Wonderland. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage is not my favorite film of the year so far. I gotta watch more films.
I'm a little behind, too.
Zack Snyder's Justice League was actually pretty decent.
I think the only one I saw this year is The Promised Young Woman. Was that
Which
this
was
year?
A good film.
Was that this year or last year?
It was technically a 2020 release,
Yeah,
but we saw it this year.
Yeah.
Promising Young Woman. Great film.
That was a great film.
But yes, we would love to hear your thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. Which monster are you rooting for? Do you want to see Kong make it out as the champion, or do you want to see Godzilla make it out as the champion? Let us know, guys. Are you seeing this in the movie theater, or are you watching it, in the comfort of your own house on HBO Max? Please let us know. What other films are you looking forward to this year? We would love to know, and we would love to talk to you guys, because, that's what we're here to do. We are horror fanatics and film fanatics. So yes, guys, please leave us your comments down below. Kim, did you have any other thing that you wanted to say before we shut things down here?
Kill King Kong!
No. He can get his gorilla booty out of here, actually. No, I'm not going to throw this toy across the room like I usually do, because I know this belongs to your son. But yeah, Kong FTW. No, wait.
That's what it is.
No, not Kong FTW. I meant Godzilla FTW. My God. Okay.
No. It was destined that you would have said Kong.
There were sections of this movie that turned my mind to mush. Anyway, some brainless fun to be had. Go out and, enjoy Godzilla vs. Kong. I hope you have a very scary day, all you boils and ghouls.
We'll see you next time.
If you liked our review, please subscribe to our channel, Around the Clock Frights, and stay classy, San Diego. Ooh.